without borders, and we are crossing borders from East Africa to West Africa. We want to go all the way to Lagos in Nigeria. Lagos is a city on the coastline of Atlantic Ocean, and we want to specifically go to the University of Lagos, a.k.a. UNILAG. And the UNILAG, again, it is the only university with a lagoon. Beautiful. It's hot, humid, but it has a very cool breeze, so you don't feel the humidity or the heat. Right now, we want to see the connection, and the destination is Lagos. Welcome to Waste Management. At the University of Lagos, there is a very thriving waste management section, and we want to visit this particular center where we find a very competent manager who is able to separate the different types of waste that are dumped there, and they are recycled. Their industries that use this waste to recycle, and we want to meet her and find out what happens when you want to really optimize on how you carry your waste. In particular, we want to talk to the manager at the UNILAG landfill, University of Lagos landfill. Keep watching and listening. We shall be telling you more on this collaborative research between the University of Lagos, University of Nairobi, Carnegie Mellon University.
This is our sack bag. You put pet bottle inside this one now. Pata 40 kg. But if you turn up our vending machine now, our vending give 50 kg. That is 1.5 this bag. So you know they collect a lot space. So that is why vending machine. Yes. That is the work of vending machine.
Are you now first? This?
Bring your finger. Hey.
No, ilé yìí kan ẹjọ́ kú lọ. Yes. Now, what this does, you know, it was to acknowledge and space. You know, when you do a business model and you don't have a pillar for the business model, this always means that by this document, this one outside can come to the that we have there is more than knows what because this is able to express almost 6-7 times to compress and reduce. So the buyer comes to buy with the mind that they're likely will take a lot rather than coming with the vehicle and getting the buoyancy just occupying. At the end of the day, you don't have any kg, and the payment over there is in kg. So once your kg is too low, you don't get money and you burn the same energy. But when this is pressed well,
social science, design, economic, and engineering.
so these are the way they are packed after
Yeah.
sorting.
These are the
labeled.
samples, right?
So all of it.
Yes.
So you have your Olushoso Ispo. M is the cell
Medium.
middle. And the cell is 6.
Yeah.
So and what we are taking is plastic. Then you have the name written on it. So even when we want to come back to the samples, if we have any discrepancies, we are still able to come back and still ensure traceability. You can see OM1. So all of them are here. Now we have taken a chunk that we want to use as carbon evaluation. That will just be apart. So when we do all other calculations, we cannot do that. Head of the Parks and Garden, also the environmental quality control of the university, waste, environment, and water. For this project, the architect project on landfill AI techniques for carbon extraction, I happen to be the principal investigator for University of Lagos. Over to you.
Good morning. I am Sibila Mumenya from the University of Nairobi. I am a professor of civil engineering, and also I double as the dean of the Faculty of Engineering at the University of Nairobi. Thank you. But here I am as an individual researcher, where we have this collaborative research with Dr. Adelopo and Professor Batude and Professor Sarah from the 3 different collaborating universities. We are here to just put our heads together and meet you guys and share our experiences on this journey of research. We look forward to a very fruitful engagement. Thank you.
You can.
So you want to introduce? Yeah. Okay. I can talk from here.
Yes. If you comfortable.
But probably people that can see me. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry. Wash.
Yeah. Yes, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Hi everybody. I'm Sarat Tendikun from Carnegie Mellon University, Africa, which is located in Kigali, Rwanda. My special area is power electronics, and although it is so much far away from the other team members' work, but I'm glad to be part into this project. And I'm also the emeritus professor at Staffordshire University, UK. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Dr. Babatunde Soya from the Department of Computer Sciences, Faculty of Science. I'm the AI lead for this research. So I'm leading the work package 3. And that's where we also need to pay a lot of attention and expertise to ensure that what we are extracting from what is given to us from work package 1 and 2 actually represents the data where the machine will understand. So with me here, I have Sunday Afalabi. He's going to introduce himself, and Oluwabu Sayomi Yekulo. So they will introduce themselves when the time comes. So that's from our own work.
Mine will not be as comprehensive as Dr. Adelopo's, but I was working on work package 2, whose main focus was to have a similar methodology of stakeholder participation at our dam site in Nairobi, Kenya, which is the biggest landfill in the city of Nairobi. Unlike UNILAG, we don't have dedicated landfill for the university, so everything goes to the municipal landfill. And the first thing we did was to visit. I'll just go straight because most of the methodologies were similar and we were sharing the standard operating procedures. So we were able to visit the management companies first and foremost. And before we did that, we had to again acquire licenses from the National Environmental Management Authority. You cannot undertake a research without that authority. And therefore we had to acquire that and get also the permissions from the local county officials to allow us to undertake the research. So we started off, as you can see, these are just a few of the management companies that we were able to visit. So we put together, don't go too fast, I don't have so many slides. Mine are simple, so I could spend a little time explaining. So we were able to put together a research team on this particular project within the Faculty of Engineering, and they divided themselves. We were quite a big group of, I think, 14 or 15, and the groups divided themselves. There was a group that was visiting the management companies in the offices to sensitize them of this particular project that we were intending to have the research at the dam site. And just like Dr. Delofo has, and all of you are aware, you cannot just go into that space just like that. They are normally, I think, maybe for lack of better word, there are even cartels. There are very many. There's a lot of bureaucracy and protection because there are people who actually earn their living from that value chain. So we had to go through the management. We went to the, you can go to the next slide. We went to the office. There's an office, that is the landfill, a place called Daldora. Not too far from, about 13 kilometers from the university, but it's a municipal dam site. And that's just an overview of how it looks. Everything is dropped there. Maybe unlike here, I think from what I was getting from your dam site, especially the university one, there is quite a bit of separation at source. We have tried, what we learned is that that effort has not been very successful. Maybe the communities and households have not really been sensitized of the need to separate, because as you can see, if you are able to separate, then you will not be doing that kind of, I would call it, that's a job of getting everything and separating if they are done at source. And you would end up with only the material that really needs to be dumped. But that's not the case. However, we were able to also establish that there is a certain hierarchy of operations. It's a very well organized system where there is even the chief. You have to go through the chief's office. The chief is the boss of an area, a local area. And he was able to introduce the team to the leaders, because all these sites, as you can see, there's a lot of plastics, all manner of waste, and there are families which are living there. And we were able to sensitize them, hold maybe the instructions. You can go to the next, but that had to be done on the field. And we did questionnaires. We were able to administer questionnaires both in English and the local language they could understand. And therefore, we similarly at Nairobi, we were able to come up with the figures of the demography, but we found the women to men was very close. Actually, there was slightly more men, but the women were also very close. But another worrying finding was that the women, there were also quite a number of young people below, actually the school going age. There were kids who had dropped out of school and they were helping their families with that. And the other thing that, one of the things that came out, I have the results, but I didn't bring them here. I thought we are going to the downside, so I didn't bring the figures. But we found the ages, just like here in Lagos, there is a lot of young people, the youth, and they are very ready, they are very digital ready, and they are very receptive and looking forward to the next stage. So after the sensitization, we involved them to help us do the sampling, and we were able to have divided, it's a 30 acre, I think Rosusun is 100 acres plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours is slightly smaller, 30 acres. We were able to divide the land into 13 cells. You can go on, and those 13 cells, we were sampling 4. This is just the sensitization, and the team leaders who were helping us to penetrate the landfill and get the samples. So next slide, you can see this is just the hierarchy. There's even a downside manager. I've just tried to bold the key people, and also the governor of the city has personally put together a management team that is, he calls it BOMA. BOMA is just a community, and there are rules and regulations. So you can see there's a board there as you enter. There are certain rules and regulations. So it's a kind of organized system, but you cannot just go there without their authority. So there's a hierarchy. Next one. You can see this was a very rigorous exercise. We administered, I think, over 750, we reached over 750 people who worked on the downside at different days. It was over a span of about, I think, 3 weeks or a month. So we could be able to reach as many as possible. So we have a lot of data about their behavior, their expectation, their age, the gender, and so on. Next one. This was just the field preparation. So we had 13 cells, and they were all, each one of them had a specific GPS. So we were able to know exactly where we got the samples. And each of the cells had 4 points within the cell at random, just as you did. And we were able to sample for each of the holes. We were able to sample at 500 milliliters, half a meter, 1 meter, 1.5 meter, and get the samples. And for each of those points, we could, on the ground, we could get the temperature. So we have data on the temperature at each of those locations, and the samples were taken to the lab next. And you can see the samples were properly labeled, and the sample had an ID at the latitude, longitude, the temperature, at what depth, at what altitude. So each of those samples was clearly identifiable. Next. And we were in the lab, we were able for each of those samples get the pH, the conductivity, calorimeter test, the material composition, moisture content was what we are looking at. Next one. And the important thing that came out of that is that we ended up with the leaders. We are calling the industry, or at the landfill. Those were the 2 leaders who helped us get all that. So they had paid a taxi call in my office, and they are very happy that we have established this research kind of collaboration, and we are looking forward. They are very ready to help us in the next stage. Let's see the next one. The ongoing results that we are still working on is material characterization. As you have seen, the material characterization is where you have you separate. For each of those samples, we got 156 samples. Each we had to separate to weigh to get the moisture content. We are yet to get the calorimeter. No, we have the calorimeter. Is it the calorimeter test we are supposed to do? Calorimeter test. So we have to work together, and then of course we'll do publications. So we are. I will just show you a bit of the photos. That is the separation. You can see. We have for each of the samples, we separated into 6 different identifiable materials. As shown, there was again fiber, glass, we had the plastic, sanitary, also is and diapers. I don't know whether that's part of.
That's sanitary.
Yeah. Those look like they were the biggest. I didn't bring the actual figures here, but as you can see, if you move on, for each of those samples, we have separated, and just move on. As you can see, the separation, fiber, leather. Apparently, we didn't get a lot of the electronic waste. I think the electronic waste, there's a campaign in the city where the companies have special allocated places where you dump your electronic, your old phones, your any cables. We were not able to actually get those ones. Move on. So these are just pictures to show a bit of the kind of samples we have in the lab. And we have the results we have so far. So you can see we have metal, glass, plastic, and so on for each of the samples which has been identified. Move on. I think I'm about to finish. And out of this, I was able to just put in, there was a conference last month in Paris, and which was dubbed AI Action, and they called for projects from all over the world where people are doing something to do with AI, and I decided to just put in with the results that I had. And I'm glad to say out of 770 projects which were submitted all over the world, they picked the top 50, and this was one of them. So they took us to Paris last month, where we went to talk about that, where we want to extract carbon, application of AI for extraction of carbon from landfill for supercapacitor. And it has a lot of interest. We are able to get a lot of contacts, and there are a lot of people with a lot of interest, because they say that Africa has to really solve its own. We have our own unique problems. We must come up with a solution, and we cannot afford now to be left behind in AI. And therefore, I'm very keen, and I feel very honored to have the team of Dr. Deloko and Dr. Babatunde. I'm saying I am really very keen, because we are being told this is the way to go. So that is me and my research assistant. We had to dress in Kenyan, our local dress code, because we were also representing Kenya. There were not so many. I think there were only 2 projects from Kenya, and I think from West Africa there were 5. The others were from Latin America. We had South Africa. No, we did we have? But Europe generally, and very few from Africa. And this was quite something, an output from this research. So you can see so far, we are not yet even a year. I think we are just maybe 9 months or less, and yet it has already started showing a lot of interest. Thank you very much. I think that's just to show it was a huge, huge international conference. The France president was there. All the ministers from all the countries represented came, and they said, we are relying on you, you know, Europe and especially Africa. We cannot afford to be left behind. Is it the fifth industrial revolution or the fourth? The AI is going to revolutionize the fourth. Yeah, so we are being challenged that we cannot afford to be left behind. Professor, so yeah, we cannot afford to be left behind. So thank you very much. Packing my things and going. Thank you.
Put your hands together for that. Yeah, it's quite a nice.